Hey everyone. Oh, wow. It's been quite a month. We're mainly going to be looking at April when we dive into all of the things that have happened recently, but this video is meant to really just serve as a testament to having high conviction in the assets that you invest in and why it's so important to have high conviction. Because with high conviction, you will buy dips in price, you will buy massive corrections as we've just seen, and you will treat them as opportunities rather than as, a death sentence to your finance. A lot of people sold at a loss in the last little while. That is completely the wrong way to go about investing. Though, with how bullish things have been, I understand why people have gotten very, very fearful of the way that things have been going, and Elon Musk tweets and all these different things going on in the market. I am down $100,000 from the peak. It's all unrealized, mind you, and I'm still way, way, way up from when I originally started investing. But it's important to see videos like this to know that it's not always going to be amazing. You're going to have losses. You're going to have unrealized losses and massive swings in price, especially in the cryptocurrency market. And it's important to understand that this is a part of how it goes. And you have to have that risk tolerance, and you have to understand that this is going to happen to be prepared for it and not to panic sell or, do something that's going to hurt your finances. So we're going to be looking at everything that I've done so far in the month of April. I'll talk a little bit about what I did in May, but I'll save that for the next episode. All these videos that I make are really just meant to serve as a testament to, again, having high conviction in what you do. And this is to show you that in 10 years, I hope to retire, at least within 10 years. I started doing this in September of 2019. It hasn't been very long, but I went from about $5,000 or so all the way up to over $300,000 and now back down to a little over $200,000. But it's been quite the journey, and I want all these videos to serve as framework for you to be able to potentially do the exact same thing or to have some sort of insight on this journey and how things could play out for yourself. So I hope these videos have been very useful to you. And if you do find them value, make sure to smash that like and subscribe. But before we jump into all that, a quick word from my sponsor. A big thank you and shout out to my sponsor, Cake Wallet, which is an open source, non-custodial Bitcoin and Monero wallet that also has a built-in exchange. It's available on iOS and Android. Thanks again to my sponsor, and hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business. I'm the host of Crypto and Things, where we talk about crypto, blockchain, finance, and all these great things in the world that do not get the attention they deserve. Today, we'll be going through my dividends, my stock buys, my crypto buys, and everything that's happened over the last little while for my entire portfolio to be fully transparent with you so that you can maybe get some insights off of this and learn something as well. But none of this is financial advice, and more or less this is financial entertainment, if you will. Some of the crypto values may or may not be simulated, but everything stock related is 100%. So, with that being said, let's jump right in. For my dividends, I have earned $753 since September of 2019. And last month, I earned $94.44. It's been a great month. It wasn't the best month ever. The best month I ever had was in March. But we're only a little bit below that. So it's good to see that, as you can see over here on the side with this graph charting it, we're always generally trending on the upside. So over time, I'm getting more and more and more dividends. I'm reinvesting them. I'm adding to the portfolio. So I'm growing my wealth. And more importantly, that wealth is now able to afford to pay for my cell phone bill and my portion of one of the utility bills. Eventually, as I keep building up these accounts, I want to be able to pay for all of my expenses passively and essentially be fully financially independent from needing an income. And that is kind of the goal of what all these videos are for, so that I could retire in 10 years and build this framework out. So that's fantastic. For crypto income, I've earned $315 since I started really focusing on crypto passive income in March of 2020, but I have since drastically pulled back. I've sold my realty tokens. I'm going fully into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a couple other coins for this run, which I believe we are going to actually see massive upside in the next 4 months or so. But again, none of this is financial advice. Last month, I earned $12.63, which isn't super substantial, but I've been pulling back. I sold most of my MTR and most of my Hive because I'm just throwing everything into the main cryptocurrencies that I believe in. I'm going for the growth play on this cycle. I still think over the next 4 months, we're going to see some insane volatility that is going to be on the upside. So that's what I'm preparing for. In terms of my crypto portfolio, this is the main portfolio. This is excluding stocks and my passive portfolio and all that stuff. At the beginning of April, it was $174,000. And then at the beginning of May, it was $204,000. Today, it is $149,000. So it's still up from March, but I'm down from the past 2 months. So that is unfortunate, but I'm still way, way up from when I originally started. So, I'm definitely not complaining, and I understand that there is going to be volatility, as you go. But I won't really realize this on the graph here until the beginning of June when I clock this in. However, that's in like a day or two. So yeah, it'll be way down, but this will be the first month that I've really taken a serious loss. I mean, in October 2020, it went down like less than 0.5%, but this is going to be a pretty serious pullback. But again, this is really just to show you guys that these things can happen. And it's going to be like a little blimp on the graph in several months from now. I'm so confident in that being the case. And if anything, I could be wrong and we wait 4 years for the next cycle. But ideally, this video will be here to show you guys 100% that you can go back and check and verify these things do play out if you're willing to play the long-term game and not just go for those short-term games and just playing the market too close to the chest. I think it's much better to stand back from everything. When in doubt, zoom out and look at how things have played out over a long period of time. Because again, if I look at a lot of these graphs, except for this one, because I've been purposefully pulling out, a lot of these graphs, they're all just trending up. And, you could have months where things go down, but on the long term, these things are all going up. And I mean, obviously, it will depend on what you invest in. You got to still invest in good fundamentals, sound assets. But if you play your cards right and you work through the bad times and you don't sell, that's what you got to do. You got to buy when things are low and sell when things are high. But because of psychology, most people get mixed up and get too afraid, and then they make bad financial decisions. So you want to keep emotion out of this. You want to only be doing things based on objective data, not sentiment analysis or, subjective things. For my stock portfolio, again, I'm always just putting a little bit of money in, slowly building it up over time. So, that is up a little bit as well. But of course, it's down now to about 28,000 or so. Mostly because I did some growth plays on Bitcoin, some ETFs, and obviously that is all pulled back a ridiculous amount. I think I'm down like 40% on those, which is funny because anytime I deviate from my dividend stocks, I lose money. And every time I just stick to my dividend stocks, they perform very, very well, and there's never any problems. But I still always, I'm trying to get those gains. I think crypto is a good place to do that. And if you want to get some exposure to crypto, but maybe through a tax-free savings account or a retirement account, then an ETF is a decent way to go. I did put out a video recently breaking down all the differences between direct investing, ETFs, investing in something like Robinhood or PayPal. You can go and check all that out in that video. But that's more or less everything. I've got my budget here. I've been spending a lot more money recently because I got the camera, I upgraded my computer. I've done a lot of things recently, so my budget is kind of out of whack, but it's going to play out. I think it's going to play out well because, I think all these upgrades are definitely worth it. And I was at least smart enough to buy all these things at the peak, and I used cryptocurrency to do so. So I really took advantage of the price there. I think it is important to try to time your spending and stuff along with crypto so that you can maximize the amount of money that you're getting out of it and try to avoid spending in bearish times like we have now. So that is everything for my overall sort of stuff. Now to go into the more individual data, we will look at a few graphs here first though. So for my entire portfolio, this is the breakdown. As I said, we are at $204,000. If you include my taxes that I owe for next year and debt and stuff, it's $194,000, but I won't get too specific. We'll just keep it at the general amount here. In terms of passive income sources, again, almost all of it's still coming from dividends and a little bit from staking, but a tiny, tiny amount from staking, very, very small. In terms of my growth crypto portfolio, it's still pretty much the same break up of what I had originally, but Bitcoin has gone down so much in value that Ethereum has really taken the lead here. And is that? Oh no, that's 51. Okay, never mind. Sorry, I thought that said 61. But yeah, Ethereum has really taken the lead here, and now it's much more weighted in my portfolio. You can see I still have all my LBC. I've got my Dash, my Bitcoin Cash, and my Litecoin. I got out of BNB. I'm more so just focused on these coins that are good for transactions, along with my LBC as my speculative play, and then ETH and Bitcoin as the two kind of go-to use cases I have for cryptocurrency. So that's how that's broken up, and I'm still really happy with the way that it's all broken up and how I've divvied everything up. I mean, I would like to have more in Bitcoin, but as it is right now, Ethereum is clearly just kicking ass and taking names, right? So I sold most of my Hive and MTR, but this is just a breakup of what I have right now. In terms of growth stocks, obviously it's all just in Bitcoin ETFs. And then for my dividend stock breakdown, still pretty much the same as what I've done before. I wanted to have it around 20% for insurance, banking, and real estate, with 15% utilities, and then 25% into some general ETFs, investing in, the entire market and stuff like that. Now for the actual individual buys and what I've been doing over the past little while, I sold out of some of the lower yielding stocks that I had and kind of just moved things around, did some rebalancing. I'm always, checking up on news, checking up on risk analysis for these companies. And I made a few changes as well, where I took out some of the, not necessarily only the lower yielding ones, because I don't think yield chasing is, a really good idea to only chase yield, because you still want to go for stuff that's reasonable and not like very high yield, because then it gets more risky. Especially when companies are losing money and they're still paying out high yields. So I've just kind of shifted everything around. I'm much happier with where it's at now. It has helped improve the average yield. I'm at 4.99% on average. We're aiming for 5%. So this is exactly where we want to be. So this is fantastic. Again, I really was just selling and kind of rebalancing, moving things around, moving from my worst performing ETFs to my better performing ETFs, moving some insurance stocks around, some real estate. Didn't really do anything in the banking sector, just kept everything the same. But I feel really good about these changes. It was more so just making some switches. I don't want to make so many switches because I am paying like a $10 fee every time I trade, which is kind of ridiculous. But, these are paying really well. I'm still up almost 12.5%, which is an unrealized gain of $3,500. This is not including the dividends that I've also earned. So quite a substantial amount that I'm getting from the dividends. On average, I'm projected to get around $1,262, which is an average of $105 per month. And that's just on average, and that's the projected amount. So as you saw last month, I did not make that amount. But as I've been buying things and switching things around, you'll get paid as they go, and you have to hold them for a certain amount of time, etc. So we'll see that kind of trending upward as I continue to put more in and continue to buy and move around and rebalance to better yielding assets. I feel like this is going to continue to do really well and continue to keep growing. It's been very, very solid. People have been complaining, tech stocks have been selling off. The whole market's been tanking. My dividend stocks have been performing very well. They've been very safe, performing very well. Like, I've got some of them that are up 40%, 50%, 30%. Canadian Western Bank, almost 80% up. So, when people say, yeah, but dividend stocks are, so safe and you don't really make much in terms of growth. Well, I mean, I've seen some pretty amazing gains on this dividend portfolio. This isn't even like growth related, right? This is really just trying to get dividends, and yet I've seen amazing growth in this portfolio too. So you never want to discount that. You can actually still make a ton of money from dividend paying stocks as well. And then you've got that passive income to be able to support you and pay for different things and just keep reinvesting that and compounding your interest, which is such a powerful financial tool. In terms of growth stocks, I just bought these two ETFs, and I've just been holding these ever since I sold out of my mining stocks. Again, they are way down. This looks terrible, but I have all the hope and conviction in crypto, especially Bitcoin and Ethereum, over the next 4 months to do some amazing things. So definitely take stock of that and just keep that in mind over the next 4 months. I think we're going to see some amazing things. In terms of crypto, as I said, I sold out of Binance Coin. I bought more Bitcoin Cash. Actually, gotta quickly add that. I added 2 the other day. And then I bought more Litecoin. I just split $3,000 between the two. I bought more Bitcoin, more Ethereum, more Dash earlier in the month as well. So all this has really happened in May, even though this is like my April update. The update is mainly focused on the earnings. So we only looked at April for dividend earnings and crypto earnings, but I'll still generally touch on buys and different things that I made over the past little while, because I'll do the same in the next one as well, even if it's during June and it's for May. So a little confusing there, my apologies, but the main stuff is still here. It's still important that you can see all the buys and generally what's been happening. And as I mentioned, I sold out almost all of my Den, my MTR on Den.social. It was at a very high price, and then it's since gone way, way, way down. So that's important to keep note of. I should actually update that. I wasn't super I didn't think it was super important to update these since I barely even had any now. But just make sure that that's correct. So that's good. But again, yeah, I sold most of it. I'm really just putting everything into my growth stuff. Not super focused on crypto passive income during a bull run, even though we're in a very bearish time right now. I still think overall 2021 is a bull year, and the next 4 months, as I will keep saying, I believe are going to be an amazing, amazing time. It's going to be funny because eventually people will come back to a video like this and say that I was like a genius or some, crazy thing. Like, how did he know? I've always just been following the stock to flow model and basing my investing on the halving cycles for Bitcoin. So that's always what I've gone off of, and that's what I will continue to go off of. I have all the faith in crypto going forward, and I'm really excited to see how things play out. And again, if things don't work out for you this year, you wait 4 years for the next cycle. This is what I've already done. I originally got in the first cycle. Well, not the first cycle, the last cycle. I bought Bitcoin at the top at 19,800 US. It went all the way down to 3,000. I held, and now it's worth more than double from when I originally bought it. But I was smart enough to keep buying and have high conviction. So I was buying Bitcoin at 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. And every month since, up to where we are now. And I will continue to do so and take advantage of dips and treat these as opportunities, not as, really bad and you should sell and panic. No, you look at these like opportunities and you see, how can I make money from this? Because if you really believe in these cryptocurrencies being the future, you're going to invest like it. You're going to invest for the long term. Again, none of this is financial advice. Do what's best for you. Let me know how your portfolios have been going over the past little while. Something that I do think is very important to keep in mind is, there'll still be coins that will make a bunch and people will say, oh, we'll see, look, this coin did really well. So it has to be legit. It's great because it went up. Price does not mean legitimacy. This is so important to internalize, because there's going to be so many pump and dumps. There's going to be so many ways for you to get wrecked and lose all your money. And you got to keep that in mind. Price does not legitimize anything. There are people who would like to believe that the only thing that matters is what the market says or does. But that would make all scams legit. If you said, well, this scam got an investment, everyone's investing, so it's legit because the price deems it legit. No, I mean, projects can still be terrible, have bad fundamentals, whatever, and they could still get pumped and dumped. And there's so many things up in the air. As I said, this has been a very volatile time. I'm up and down hundreds of thousands of dollars on sound assets. So I can't imagine how, things that I would consider scams or just terrible projects or, whatever, I can't imagine how up and down those are going to be. You could catch the upside, but you're more than likely to end up catching the downside or getting in a cycle where you have the psychology of, I've had people say to me like, oh, you're just mad because you missed this coin. It's like, you only made 700% gains. And I'm like, yeah, I made 700% gains. To think that is bad just shows how insane the mindset of a lot of these investors has been getting. If you're upset with a 7x, you're going to throw all your money into some insane project and lose everything. People need to lower their expectations, be more realistic, be more reasonable, take profits where possible, and do what makes sense for you and your risk tolerance, etc. Because you still need to be able to get to sleep at night and not be sitting there just refreshing. I'll admit, I spend way more time refreshing my blockfolio than I should, and just focus on every little movement. But there's so much at stake for so many people that it's definitely understandable. But you got to do what makes sense for you and what's comfortable and what you're able to tolerate, and then ride this out as best as you can. Again, none of this is financial advice, but let me know, what are you guys doing? What are you investing in? How have your portfolios been playing out? Let me know all that great stuff in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business. If you did watch to the very end, do comment hashtag #1ham in the comments below. That way I know you watched to the very end, and I always appreciate it when you do and let me know. And as always, till next time, cheers.